Hi there folks, it's Handmade by Shirley here. Welcome back to my channel. I've come on again to make another Christmas card. I'm starting to do this every day for 30 days. And I know I'm starting in the middle of the month, but I'm going to finish in the middle of October. So I've come on today and I'm wanting to make another kind of Christmas card. Yesterday I made this little TP fold one, so it will be coming to this channel soon, probably when I'm filming it. I'm filming this one today, this one will come out this evening. So I'm just going to go ultra wide there so that you can see a bit more of the table. So I've got all my pieces cut out here and I'm using a nice pale blue colour, not traditional Christmas. I'm using a nice pale blue, white and gold, and I'll be using some blue inks as well. So I'll be using a lot of different products. I'm not demonstrating them, I'm just using what's in my stash, and I just hope that you'll enjoy. So I've pre-cut my stuff ready because I feel it's quicker in the video. So I've got a base card of 5 inches squared. Got my insert pieces, so they just go down in increments of 1/4 of an inch. So I've got my insert, and then the same with the topper part of the card. I've got increments of 1/4 of an inch smaller. So this will measure 4 3/4 inches squared. So we'd need a piece of coloured card of your choice, and I've also already put it through an embossing folder. It was dotty. I already put one of the other squares through the embossing folder. It just gives a little bit of texture and interest. So you will need that piece, which is 4 3/4 inches squared. You'll need a white piece, which you'll actually 2 white pieces. You need one that is 3 3/4 inches. You need 2 gold pieces, one that is 3.5 squared, one that is 3 inches squared, and this one is 2 3/4 squared, and that's also been put through the embossing folder. And what I'm going to do is I've got a piece of this smooth multifarious card from Lavinia Stamps, and I'm going to stamp onto there. And because it's multifarious, that means that you can add any of your mediums to the card and it will still have a nice image. So I was going to use a retired stamping set called Poinsettia Petals, and I'm going to stamp out the poinsettia and I'm going to layer it up, and excuse me, that's going to go in the middle of my card. So well, let's get started. So we'll just start putting our card together, and I'll start in the inside. So I've just got a nice layer of blue as well. This blue paper is from Carnation Crafts. I got it, I can't remember what actual colour palette it's from, but it's definitely a Carnations Crafts one. And I'm sure this is probably still current. So I'm sure if you went on Carnation Crafts website, if you wanted this particular paper, you would certainly still get it. So just giving that a nice border all the way around. And then I usually don't put card inside, but because it's a Christmas card, like I don't put card as a for my insert. Usually it's just a bit of copier paper, but because I thought it's a Christmas card and it's a bit special, let's just do that. So before I do that, I want to just stamp into it. So I've got another stamp set here called Joyful Holly, and I'm going to stamp A Joyful Christmas to You because I think that's quite nice. So I'll just quickly put that on my block, and I'll just take this off because I want to stamp first. So I'm just getting a piece, a foam pad which I use to help give me the right pressure to stamp. So I'm just going to stamp it right into the middle of that white piece of paper, pick it up with my block, and I've got various colours of blue because, as I said, I'm doing a kind of blue card. So I've got various colours I'm going to use for the poinsettia and maybe some of the leaves. So I'm going to pick Night of Navy to stamp the sentiment inside because it's a nice dark navy colour, blue colour. So just tap that a few times into your ink pad and then stamp. Oh, hopefully that's not squint. No, that's fine. And what you actually could do, which I sometimes do inside my cards as well, is that I add some of the elements from the stamp set. So we're predominantly using the Poinsettia Petals, although I use the other sentiment from the other stamp set. So I'm thinking I could add a poinsettia or two just inside there. So just get the smaller one, and I think I'm going to pop it on there. And it doesn't matter if it's slightly off, because it's only the inside, and I'm just going to use the same ink, and I'm just going to make sure that's covered, and I'm just going to bring it slightly off, and that's my insert. So just keep that on the block because I'm going to be using that soon. So that will be my insert. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop that in once I find my tape pen. And you see, I thought I had everything ready on the table, but it turns out I don't. So just using the tape pen at the back top part of here, just making sure that's the right way. Just go a couple of times, 3 or 4 times, 2 or 3 times, and then just add that in, making sure it's as level as you can get it, and that's your insert. Right, so now we're going to bring our attention to the front, and actually let's do some stamping first because I've got the ink out, and that's going to be a perfect time just to carry on inking. And please excuse me because I have got a croaky voice, but it's not intentional for the video. So I'm just going to get some of the nice, so obviously this is going to be our centerpiece, and we need to have something that's going to fit into there. It doesn't matter if it's slightly hovering off, but this stamp set, you've got a massive big stamp, and I think that might just be a bit too big. Maybe not. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fussy cut. No, actually, it's okay. So we might have that. Get the other one. I'm going to fussy cut the stamped images out because I like fussy cutting. I've got 3 of the images, and I'm going to layer them on top. And I'm also going to stamp out a leaf or 2 as well. So just take that off, and we'll get these onto some blocks. So I think this one could, no, not quite fit on there. Just bear with till see if I can get. I might have to put this one in there. I've got something stuck to that, so that one in there. this one I'll put on here, and then I've got another one for here. So put that to the side because that is going to be the centre, but we do need to do a bit of stamping first. So I've got my multifarious paper, and the purpose of using this is because I want to use a water brush and I want to do a bit of watercolour. So I want it not to run and bleed and make a mess and then maybe make a hole in the paper. So if you've got the right paper, certainly for doing this, it should work. So I'm just going to start with Night of Navy because that's the very darkest colour I've got. I'm going to ink up my stamp. I'm taking my ink pad to the stamp because it's a very big stamp. And I've just stuffed my finger in it, which is not a good idea. But, so if it's a big, huge stamp, and if you're not using a platform, which I could use, take the ink pad to the stamp and then just ink that down. So, and that is a really nice image. And then the next size up is this one. So I'm going to take the stamp to the pad this time because it's a little bit smaller, and I can do that. And just make sure it's completely inked up, and then add to your multifarious paper again, card, and there you go, you've got another nice image. And then your last one of the poinsettia, take it to the ink again. So you only really take it to the opposite way round if it's a much bigger stamp. And then I'm going to just pop that one here. And then I'm going to do the leaf. So I'm going to do a couple of leaves. One here. Two's probably enough. Maybe do 4, and then if I don't need them, it won't matter. But if I've got them, I've got them. Right, so that's that done. So what I want to do is to bring these other colours that I've got in. So I've got Seaside Spray and Misty Moonlight and Balmy Blue. So I can take this away now because I don't need that. That's just for stamping. So what I want to do is I want to get my little water brush. So these are quite good. So you just fill them up with water. And then you've got a water brush. But I dare say you could use the old way of a brush and a little bit of water in a jar, which would be absolutely fine. Now I'm going to add, I think, some of the Seaside Spray. So actually, before you open these, you can give them a good old squeeze, but then I think these probably need re-inked, but we'll give them a go. There's a wee, I don't know why I did that. There's a little bit there. So these inks are water reactive, so that means you can paint with them. So I'm just going to paint onto the leaves. So I might come in slightly so you can just see that a bit better. So I'm just painting onto these and just kind of turn it round if you do use this type of, if you do decide to paint, just because you don't want to dip your arms into, or your hand into what you're doing, your work. So this is just a different way of doing a Christmas card. It's as a meaning like not doing the traditional colours. It's nice. I do tend to associate Christmas myself with gold, red, I suppose some silver as well, green, because I suppose I was brought up that way with those colours. And I do like these colours, something heartwarming about them. But it's quite nice to, you know, just use other colours. So just you know, there's no right or wrong way to do this. Just fill these in. Turn it, as I say, turn it round as you're doing it, because you don't want to be getting your hand in it or your thumb or your finger and then pop, you know, it gets smudged. But as I say, with this particular paper, card even, you really, I don't think it smudges as much. I'm just going to shut this up again and squeeze it again, because it's kind of, so just squeeze it together if you've got these particular ones. If you've got something else, I'm sure you'll find a way of using them. And then this one here, our last one. Right, so we've got some colour on that. Now I'm going to add a little bit of Misty Moonlight as well, because it's slightly darker and there's obviously some shadows. Oh, that didn't work as well, did it? Let's just squeeze it a couple of times. And we just want a little bit of a contrast colour, so just kind of dip that in a bit. And you can just go in to the centre where it might be slightly darker. Just like that. Same here. You can even just kind of go into the main pad, although I don't suppose it matters. And I'll just come up again so that we can see. So just going in to darken it very slightly. Don't want to take too long on this because I've got other stuff to do. Right, so that's kind of those done. And then I'm going to use this Balmy blue colour, so I'm going to squeeze that as well. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Oh, that's better. And then I'm going to just wash that brush, and then I'm just going to do the leaves with this one. There's not an awful lot of a difference in between these colours. They actually look pretty similar. Now when the Night of Navy was wet, you could actually drag some of the navy back into that, because when, as I say, these are water reactive inks, so when the ink has just been stamped, it's still wet per se, you can drag that colour back in as well. And probably we're still dragging a bit of the colour back in a bit because it does react to water, as I say. Okay, so let's just have our Night of Navy. I want to just pop that in a very small amount, and I have opened that wrong again. I keep doing that, don't I? Let's give that a wee squeeze too. Didn't do anything. Let's try it again. That didn't really help, did it? Right, we've got a little bit, so just put a wee bit more darkness in, just into there. It'd be better to see it like that. And a tiny wee bit here as well. A couple of wee bits here on the leaves. And that. There we go, that's that done. Right, so now we can put our card together. I'm going to fussy cut out these flowers, but I'm just going to let them dry, because you obviously want that to be as dry as possible before you cut it. So let's get our card back together. So that's okay. So we're just going to layer this up. Now we are going to put these on diagonally. This one is going to go on square. And as I said, we're going to use foam pads on some of the bits. But this one here, we're going to put down flat. And there should be a tiny wee border of a 1/4 of an inch all the way around on each of these. There we go. Now we're going to lay them, going to do it diagonally like this now. So we're going to put this one down flat first. So I will put all the measurements of everything that I've used in here, in the description box below, so you will know exactly what the sizes are. But I mean, I'm sure you can make your own sizes if you wanted to make a smaller or bigger card. So just hold that down for a few seconds, because obviously it's going on to an embossed surface, so it's raised and it'll take a wee bit longer to adhere. Now we've just got a plain white piece which we're going to pop on like that, and we're going to use some foam pads for that. So we're just going to put those on each corner. Something fell down. Something fell down. And then we can put one in the middle as well. Oh. What are we at? 20? Okay, so we're still carrying on our diagonal shape here. We're just going to hover over and then stick that one down. Then we're going to stick this one down on foam pads as well. So up. So it just gives it a wee bit of height and dimension and looks good. One in the middle again. So just pop that on. Make sure it's not. It's fine. Just pop this on with your border of white. And take that off and make sure it's going to stick on the right place. There we go. And then our last piece here is going to go down flat. So we have to be careful here because we're putting this onto Mirri card or mirror and you don't want to get glue everywhere. So the glue, just make sure you try and pop it in the right place so you're not sliding about and leaving glue marks if you use mirror card. So that seems to be fine. And that's our front. And then all we need to do is pop our poinsettias on the front. I've also got another piece that we're going to do. We're going to use this sprig punch, and we're going to cut out a couple of wee sprigs from the gold as well. So we'll just cut out a few of them. And we can dot them around as well. So, time for the fussy cut. So I'm going to fussy cut, as I say, out these 3 poinsettias. I think everything's dry now. Maybe not. Obviously, if you're doing it, you can dry it with a glue gun. I don't have my glue gun. Your heat tool even. I don't have my heat tool on the table, so unfortunately I'll just have to hope I don't smudge it. So because these aren't current stamps, unless you have the die set to go with this, obviously you could cut them out with the dies. If you don't, you know, if you have this particular one or whatever, you would just cut it out by hand. I do have the dies, but I prefer to just go around doing this because I think personally this is easier. So just go around. I'm leaving a bit of a white outline as well, which is fine as well because obviously we've got the white of the actual base card. And I am cutting it awful fast, so I'm being a bit naughty because I'm not actually doing it as neatly as I'd like. And you could put anything in to the front of this if you wanted, if you were doing a similar design. It doesn't have to be poinsettia, it could be a snowman, could be anything you wanted it to be. It could just actually be a sentiment on the front with a ribbon. That's another idea as well. But I love fussy cutting. I find it really therapeutic, and you'll notice that it's not, obviously your scissors move because they need to cut, but it's really the paper, the card that moves, not the scissors. And if you do it that way, it's so much easier than cutting right round with your scissors. It's easier just to move the card round instead of the, obviously your scissors do move. So that's my 3. I'll quickly cut out a couple of leaves. There's a leaf or 2, and let's get one of these ones. Okay, right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer these up. I'm going to pop that in the middle, that like that, that on top, a couple of these leaves here, like so, and then a few of these bits. So let's get started. So you could quite easily pop this round something like a pokey tool, or you could just curve it around a bone folder, just to give it a wee bit of shape. If you wanted to, you could get your shaping tools, ball tools, and shape it with them as well. I'm just going to curl it around like that. I'm going to do that quickly with all of them. And then with the leaves, I'm just going to give them a bit of a twist up in the middle. So down the middle, just twist them up like that. So down that kind of crease area, just do that a wee bit, and the same here, down that crease area, just do a similar thing. And then we can pop it together. So I'm just going to use wet glue to do this. I mean, I could pop it to one side as well, but I've decided that I want to put it all into the middle. So I'll bring those up a bit and just hold that in place a few seconds. And then just put some glue onto the back of your next size up. And then you want to rotate it so that the petals are in between the other ones. So it looks like a really full poinsettia, and just press it down a bit with some tool, and then the same onto the back of this one as well, and then just rotate it again so that it's in between those as well. that slightly, that's better. And then I'm just going to pop these in underneath, so I need to put glue on here. So I'm just going to pop these under, kind of underneath there. Just hold that for a minute. And the same here. Just under that bit there. Just hold it for a few seconds, and then we're just going to add these extra sprigs in just to finish. So just underneath again. And just hold it down with your pokey tool. Oh, see what I mean? It's not stuck yet. And then I've got one more. I'm trying to think where we should put that one. Put that one at that side, or we just pop it. What is it? Yeah, let's pop it actually under this bit. So under this piece here. Just pop that in between. Oh, come on, that's it. And then just hold that for a few seconds. And the last thing I want to do is put some gems in the centre. Bear with me till I find them. Add some yellow ones. I've got a couple of those ones. Let's just pop them in. So I'm just going to pop a couple of blue ones in. One there. Just to hide. I can hardly see. Hardly see them. They're so tiny. Come back in a bit so you can see. And then nearly done. Just got a few more to go. Should have picked a slightly bigger one, shouldn't I? Never mind, we're nearly done. And that is my card. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope that perhaps you might try and make something similar. And if you've really loved it, please let me know. And if you've got any questions, please ask me. And thank you for coming on again to my channel, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.